Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about episode 6 of Marvel's Hit Monkey. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, I love that the monkey is enjoying the treatment from Akiko. It is so interesting and like how lavish she's treating him, and I love the cat is just so pissed because it's like, oh, he gets this lavish meal made for him and I get the shitty canned cat food, and it's just like he's just so pissed. And even Bryce is kind of being like, geez, like we're just like sitting back here and just doing this, like, you know, it's like, it's so, he's like, you're going so soft, you went from killing people to this, and he's enjoying it because he likes Akiko. And the whole thing is though, like, does she actually like you, or is it just she likes what you represent? It's hard to say, does she like you for you, or does she like you for what you do because you're killing bad people? Especially, you know, in her mind, she's thinking you're on the right side of things. We do see Haruka and Ito show up because they want to talk to her about Rooster being locked up, but they don't have enough to lock him up forever because no one's going to take this because he's paid off so many people. He's got like hands in so many people's pockets that the fact is no one's going to do anything against him. And obviously, Akiko was trying to connect this to Ozu, which Haruka is like, you know, it's like doing good police work. There's no actual evidence pointing at, but Akiko was just kind of like looking down on Haruka, being like, yeah, this must be a joke. Which even Haruka is like she doesn't trust her because it's like, what, you think she's connected to the Rooster? I don't think she is. I think Shinji might be, but and like there might be some kid. Because that's the thing though, like, I don't think Ozu's the bad guy. Like, he's a dick, sure, but I don't think he's the bastard that Akiko thinks he is. He can be an asshole, but I don't think he's who she thinks he is. Once again, I'm still teetering now, even more so as the season progresses. I'm like, it's got to be Shinji. He's got to be like at least mixed up in all of this, because he could have easily set it up so that someone like Akiko's own bias against Ozu would have make her believe like, oh, like he's the one that sent those people after me. But it's like, no, it's most likely that Shinji set that up so all her attention would be towards Ozu, painting him as the bad guy, pointing everyone in his direction, even though he knew it wouldn't like stick. Maybe not. Like, I'm still just trying. I'm expecting that Shyamalan twist. That's the problem. You expect it everywhere. You're like, I've been feeling the Shyamalan twist with Shinji since episode 1. Like I said, episode 2 made me back down, but I'm like, I just can't get rid of that gut feeling. He's got to be mixed up in this in some shape or form, but. Because the reason why Haruka doesn't really vibe with Akiko is because Akiko is so, like, shut down and dismissive of the cops. But to be fair, like, you know, and even Ito talks about it later on, like, there's been so much corruption in this town. The only problem is, it's just not as overt as it used to be. It's just as much as it was in the past. But he was like, yeah, everyone was taking bribes here and there. The only difference is that it was like a new DA and stuff like that, and they wanted to make an example of someone, and so he ended up being the fall guy, him and his partner. But his partner was kind of able to escape all of this. At first I was like, who is his partner? His former partner has to either be like the main guy behind this, because he's the dude that, because I think it's so interesting that Bryce isn't focusing on, he's thinking like, oh, we killed the Rooster, that's it. But it's like, we know that there was someone else that the general was talking to that day. It's just Bryce didn't see his face, but he's like, oh, that must have been something else entirely. Like, this has got to be connected to all that. He's just allocating it to the Rooster, because in Bryce's mind, like, we killed the Rooster, this is all done. Because the Rooster hired the accountant hired the fish lady who manipulated the twins into busting the balls of the general to hire him to take care of Ken, and then ultimately end up killing Bryce as well, you know, so. That's all he sees. He thinks so. Like, everyone else on that list is dead. All we got to do is kill the Rooster. That's kind of the main focus of this episode. But circling back, Ito talked about, like, the fact is it doesn't matter who his partner is, but whoever his partner is, it's super significant. It might be like not necessarily. I'm expecting it to be kind of like a Persona 5 twist. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. About, like, revelations about certain people's connections to each other. You know, that I'm like I said, I don't want to ruin it just in case anyone hasn't played Persona 5 and doesn't know that part of the story, so I'm going to just leave it at that. But I'm curious, is it going to, like, because whoever his partner is and the fact that they're hiding his identity, it's got to be pretty significant. I would assume it wouldn't be Shinji. Like, I feel like Because going to Akiko, not unless that, if it was Shinji, maybe that would explain, like, why he's so, like, he just kind of let a lot of stuff around her go. It's just because of, like, the past connections, like, oh, you don't know how much of a douchebag your uncle is. Not unless it's that, but I feel like it has to be someone else, someone pretty up there and powerful. I was about to say Ozu, but I don't think it's him. It has to be the bald guy that they're seeing that's orchestrating everything. I think it's got to be him, but we'll see. Ito talked about the fact is that everyone was kind of a piece of crap except for Hiroshi and Haruka. They're the only, like, decent people. Because Haruka had talked about the fact is that, like, right, you support a vigilante, you steal evidence from a crime scene. She's like, I can't trust a partner. That's not how I'm built. That's not how I work. Hopefully we don't get a twist where it's like Haruka's actually terrible to him. Like, hopefully that's not... Wouldn't be the first time when it's like a dedicated partner ends up being a terrible person too. I mean, Ito's kind of crappy in his own right, but he's your veteran cop that's like, oh, I'm too old for this shit. I've been beaten down by the system too much, and just things have kind of gone awry. So it could be that, but I'm like, because I've seen, there's a movie, God, it's an older movie, so I'll go ahead and spoil it. It's called War. It's got Jason Statham and Jet Li, and spoilers, Jet Li. It turns out Jason Statham's character was kind of more of a piece of shit than you thought he was the entire movie, because you thought, like, oh, he was getting revenge for his partner. It ended up being a whole thing. I'm kind of spoiling a movie, but this movie is like over a decade old. I want to say maybe a little less. It's an older, like, action movie, but I expect something. I hope it's not something of a twist like that when it comes to Haruka or something like that, like a revelation about her. But circling back to, like I said, the main thrust of the episode is them going after the rooster. He is free now. I love, and the entire time Bryce is like, hey, I know I don't say this a lot, but I actually am going to miss you. I hated you at the beginning, but yeah, I actually like what we do. Even later on being like, yeah, if I had a son, I wish he was more like you, because the episode's called, like, The Long Goodbye, because the entire episode Bryce is trying to say goodbye to the monkey in his own way, because he's like, oh, this is it. Like she said, once we kill everyone associated with it, everything will happen now, be able to move on or turn into a ball of light or whatever. Kills the rooster in the barbershop. Oh, you're still here? I was like, yeah, of course you are, because there's people behind it. And then other roosters start popping up, and you're like, wait, what? So I was like, was that a stunt double? Like, what was going on? It's like, well, bad guys would have people like, oh, you got a target on bat. Of course you're going to have, like, people, like, body doubles everywhere. Turns out he's got more than one. He has a whole crew of them, to the point that after everything went down, the car flipped and was about to explode, and they all scatter. So one by one, the monkey goes around, starts popping everyone, while Bryce keeps going on and on about everything. I love that at one point he's like, okay, I never admitted, but I was in love with a man once. He's like, I never, like, essentially he never told the guy how he really felt. It also turns out he has a daughter. We're like, because Bryce is thinking he has to spill all his secrets. He's like, right, I haven't actually set up a will or anything like that, but I need you to be that I need you to be that in-between person to set it all up. Maybe hire her a lawyer. I don't want her to spend the money all at once. I want her to wait till she's 21. Make sure she doesn't get with a guy that's like me, because he's like, yeah, because that type of thing happens. I mean, she's gonna have a long laundry list of, like, daddy issues. But I'm like, okay, so if your daughter's not 21, I wonder how old is she? But, because he's like, yeah, you have to find her. So I'm like, I wonder, does he not know where she is either? Like, I guess she got probably put in a foster system, maybe. Or maybe he just lost track of her, because he didn't touch on the mom situation of what that was about. Like, but the monkey starts killing all of them, gets down to one of the guys, like, hey, I'm not the one you're looking for, I'm just an actor. So he rips off the wig, and he's like, see, the guy you're actually looking for is the short one. But the short one's like, yo, I got this drive. No, I thought it was a drive, but it's like, no, it's a key, to a box. It has all the secrets. And then the monkey, as well as another guy, are shooting it. And I love that it's like, right, Bryce is like, maybe the last bullet counts. Whoever kills the guy gets credit for the kill, because I love that at first he was like, because two of the previous ones got ran over, he was like, I hope I'm not going to get screwed over out of peace because of a technicality, because we didn't kill them, that the taxi ran them over and stuff like that. I'm curious, is that the same taxi from later on? I think it might have been the same taxi, dude. I don't remember. The irony behind it was, you can make the argument he kind of got his comeuppance. They were pieces of crap, as Ito said, so it's like less scum on the streets. Which, really quickly, Ken's not Ken, Shinji is chewing Akiko out because Ozu is using everything against her. Be like, oh, her blasting him in the news, saying like when he found out who was responsible for it, he like put them on blast and he handled it. But I won't let this defamation and slander continue. Also, it's like, yeah, from someone who supports a vigilante that killed a cop. It's like, yes, the cop was Yakuza, but it's still like the optics don't look good. And Shinji's like, I told you this was going to happen. She's like, I'm not going to let him like control the narrative of this. So she's going to step up to like control the narrative of this campaign. We'll see how that plays out. But they end up like the bullets keep going between them. It's like the monkey shooting the quote-unquote real rooster, and so is the sniper. But then like the moment the monkey wants to go investigate the key thing, Bryce is like, oh, who cares, it's not that important, I'm going to be stuck here forever, I don't deserve peace. But then it turns out they trick the fake rooster double to like take them to the bank. And it's like, oh, he sneaks them in there and stuff like that. And I love Bryce just being so shitty, just being like, just trying to have a connection with me, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's like, right, last time I'm going to open up to you, because every time I'm opening up to you, pouring my heart out to you, you give me nothing. But then it turns out, oh, this fake rooster is actually the rooster. It's like, I love the whole, like, he rips the wig off to be bald, and then he rips off the other wig, and he's got his hair again. It's like, and he, like, unmasks it. It's like, yeah, it was makeup and hair, fake hair, and it's like, it's so weird that you have I guess that was the point, like, to rip it off to be like, oh, I'm not the real rooster. I'm like, that's quite the play. That's quite the ploy. He had the real key the entire time. They opened up the safety deposit box. I didn't catch what was so important about it, but the pen that the monkey used to kill him, the monkey looked at it and threw it in, like, the security box. I didn't pay attention to what was on it. I guess it's significant, but they get out of there and it's like, all right, let's go back, you know. But the real person behind all this is upset because he got called, and it's like, all right, he's going to bring someone else in because you guys have been so inept about this. I got to find someone in here that's going to like clean this up neatly. And I love that we get introduced to her, and it's just like every step of the way, it's like, okay, something went wrong. Something like with like, okay, the lady taking her drinks and telling her to put her tray up. The guy not helping her put her bags. That's why I was like, is that the same taxi dude from running over those fake roosters earlier? There was also about the lady who's like, right, your room's going to take an hour. It wasn't ready, so you have an hour. Drinks are on us. And then there's the guy that she went up to the room with. And and then we slowly see that she basically killed everyone. Anyone that screwed her over or irritated her, she killed. From the flight attendant to the cab guy to the lady, the receptionist at the desk at the hotel, to the guy she was sleeping with, who she's like basically impaled him on the ceiling. I'm like, cool. So you're like this is some top-notch professional killer that's coming after to deal with this monkey situation, because like the head honcho was pissed because the box, whether it's just that pen, not unless that pen's actually like a flash drive that has a whole bunch of information on it. Like, that's why I'm like, the pen has to be significant, especially because the monkey picked it up. He was looking at it, but it might just be like, oh, he thought it was kind of a shiny pen, so he threw it in there. But because it's like, it didn't seem like there was any, other than the money, it didn't seem like they didn't showcase anything else really flying out the box except for like monkey, maybe other stuff, but nothing of significance. Like, they focused on like the pen. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.